was like what's going on, and go there and then find out I got some issues going on. So it's really unfortunate. I got like a gallstone. I have to get surgery on that, so I'm really upset about that, obviously. And then I got some other issues going on, man. So yeah, I'm a little bit in rough shape right now, Marcel, which sucks. But hopefully I'll feel better soon, man. You know, like I'm just a grinder. Like I always like work. I'm just always working, and I never like take care of myself sometimes. And then this happens. I know you said you weren't feeling the greatest today either, so we'll probably just do a little bit of a shorter show today, Marcel. I was saying half an hour. I just honestly want to go to bed after, but I do want to do a show today because there is news to talk about. But hopefully you feel better, Marcel. Hopefully I feel better. But yeah, it's been a rough, man. Been a rough day for me, guys, and I hope I feel better after the surgery I get. So we'll see what happens. I am a little bit scared about it. Obviously, I don't want to go like under the knife, so to say, but something that a lot of people do have to get. So hopefully I feel better very soon. Hopefully you feel better too, Marcel. But yeah, and you know, if I have to run out quickly, that's like what happened yesterday, guys. That is connected to this as well, Marcel. It's all connected, right? So that's why I had to leave yesterday early, guys. I was like, Marcel, I got to go because I was not feeling good, and then today was even worse. So thankfully, I was smart enough to go and get it checked out, and yeah, hopefully I'm okay. Hopefully you're okay too, Marcel. Let's talk about some stuff though, some news today. Biggest thing that happened: Darren Till, he's injured, broke his collarbone. He's out of the fight with Marvin Vettori at UFC on ABC2, which sucks because that was going to be a great fight. And now they're saying Kevin Holland potentially going to jump in there. Is that official? Have you heard anything? Like again, I've been out all day, so I haven't really seen too much, but I did see that on Twitter. What have you heard?
It's not official. I know Kevin Holland has accepted the offer, and I saw Vettori saying "Let's do it" under that tweet. So probably going to happen soon. So, but it's not official yet. But I think it's a matter of time before it's official because Vettori wants us to remain on the card. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's just disappointing for Darren Till because it was a big opportunity for him, right, against Marvin Vettori. Quite frankly, I don't even think he deserved that fight. You know, like Vettori, I think he's right there for a title shot probably. He obviously needs to get this win. I mean, maybe the Whitaker Gastelum winner is a little bit ahead of him, I guess, if it's Whitaker. But like I think Marvin's right there, man. After that last performance, Marcel, against Jack Hermanson, I'm sold on this guy now. Like I think he is really good. I think that's a bad matchup for Kevin Holland. I have to obviously look into it more, guys, but like just based on what we saw from Holland 2 weeks ago, Marcel, I'm pretty sure you're going to pick Marvin Vettori, right? Like I don't even have to. No spoiler alert, eh?
Yeah, no doubt in my mind, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think Holland deserves the fight, even if it's on 10 days' notice. I mean,
Yeah.
So you lose to Derek Brunson, you get rewarded with Marvin Vettori, pretty much. It's kind of weird, you know.
I don't get it either. Like, but I mean, he's still in a short notice, I guess. But why didn't Brunson get the opportunity, right?
Yeah, but you know, Brunson is now like has surpassed Vettori in the rankings, you know, and I think Brunson wants to fight somebody higher.
I forgot about that. He shouldn't have really. Like, I don't know how he jumped up. Like, what is it, 4 spots? It's kind of weird. Let's get this comment. Hey, Nick, what's going on, man? Holland could really use the opportunity to redeem himself after the BS versus Brunson. That fight was so bad. It's just like I thought he was going to take some time off, and because he said he was going to see a sports psychologist and maybe drop to 170. He's jumping right back in there. Seems like a terrible idea to me, Marcel. And again, I'm going to obviously watch the tape on these guys and compare them. Like the best way to do it really is to watch them both back to back and just kind of look at the fight like that. But I mean, I'm a huge Kevin Holland fan, but man, this seems like a rough matchup for him. Andre, what's going on, man? He says, I think Vettori is seriously going to punish this guy. He won't fall into Holland's antics. Yeah, I think so too, dude. I mean, this guy he's good and he's like ready to go. He's game. He's pissed off that this happened. But I mean, listen, Darren Till broke his collarbone, so I don't know why he's out there saying like, you know, the stuff. I understand he's frustrated, but like the guy broke his collarbone, he can't fight. It's not like he did it on purpose. UFC wanted to push Holland, so they're invested. I will not bet Holland. Don't do it here, man. Don't do it. Not after the last fight, guys. We're not betting on Kevin Holland now. We're gonna wait a bit. And I think the guy's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but man, after the last fight, Marcel, especially against a guy like Vettori, so physical. Like he's such a physical fighter, and he's just moving forward all times. And he's, I think, got the grappling advantage. Like maybe he just takes down, you know, his opponent here. He might just take down Holland and hold him against the fence. I think it's going to be still 5 rounds, right? Like I would assume. Marcel?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think it's 5 rounds. Yeah, it's not been confirmed, but I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and Marvin looked great in the last fight. It was on short notice too against Jack, and he went full 5, and he looked great. So. Yeah, I mean, just based on what we saw in the last fight, guys, I don't know how anyone can really pick Holland here. I expect Vettori to be a decent-sized favorite. At the same time, though, you can't completely write off Holland. I mean, he's still a talented fighter. He can still knock out Vettori. He can still submit him. But based on like what we've seen on his last fight, I don't know how anyone could be confident. And I wouldn't want to put money on him at this spot unless it was like some crazy number. But I don't even think it will be. What else here? Francis Ngannou. We should talk about. Actually, let's get this one. Kevin, late start tonight. Welcome to Marcel After Dark. Yeah, it's late for Marcel. I was saying in the beginning, I was in the hospital all day, guys. So I've been really sick and feeling a little better, but I'm still pretty sick, to be honest with you. Marcel's a trooper, though. Thank you, Marcel, for holding out here for me, man. I appreciate it. We're just going to do half an hour tonight, guys, because like I said, I'm not feeling the greatest. And Marcel's, he's a little tired right now. It's 1 a.m. his time, so I totally understand that. But let's talk about some other stuff, Marcel. What about this I saw today? Anderson Silva, it's official. He's boxing Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And on the same card, you got, I think his father's going to box some other guy too. So that's crazy, right? And I see your question, Andre. We'll talk about that in a second. But I want to hear Marcel's thoughts on this. Oh, man, Marcel. I mean, it seems like a bad idea, right? He's 46 years old, I think, now, right? Like, this is a rough idea. What do you think?
I gotta be honest here with you, man. I have almost no knowledge about boxing, man. I look forward to see Anderson back or whatever he does. You know, it's always spectacular, but I have no idea, man, what to think about it. I have barely knowledge about boxing, so yeah, I don't know, to be honest.
Listen, I'm not the boxing expert here. I'm an MMA expert, and so is Marcel. But you know, the guy is 46 years old, I believe, and he hasn't fought in boxing in 15 years since 2000, or actually 16 years. 2005 was his last match. He did score a knockout in that fight. I think I've seen that on YouTube before. He had another boxing match in like 98. He lost by this retirement. So, I mean, I don't know how much we could take from those fights, right? He said for years he wants to box. We know he's one of the best strikers at MMA. But, you know, what made Anderson special was not just his hands, Marcel. It was his kicks. It was his knees. It was his elbows. It was just they called him the spider, right? Because of the 8 limbs, right? So, I'm not sure how he's going to do in this fight, guys. It seems kind of like questionable. His management would make this move. I think he should have stuck in MMA. Personally, I know it was his dream to box, so I get that. But I don't know, Marcel. Like, I understand that maybe Bellator wasn't interested in him, but like I thought Ryzen was. Like, I remember Ryzen had sent Tom an email or something like a few months ago saying they were interested. Or even one championship. I thought that's maybe they could have did the Vitor Belfort rematch. You know what I mean, Marcel? Like, I thought there were still fights for him in MMA. I'm not sure about this boxing match, guys. Nick West says Silva could beat Chavez. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not super familiar with this guy. I got to be completely honest with you, but just the fact that Anderson is an older guy, it's pretty sketchy in my opinion. Especially coming off a brutal loss to Uriah Hall, Marcel. He just got brutally knocked out, Marcel. Like, his chin's not getting any better, guys. All right, let's get some questions with Francis because I do want to talk about him and Jones. Start with Andre. What impressed us the most about Francis? What impressed you the most, Marcel, from his performance the other night?
Probably the takedown defense sprawl. I think that was
man.
That was very nice and took Miocic back. I mean, I was impressed with that. We all know he can knock somebody out, so that was nothing new. And his patience, he was much more patient than he's normally. Normally he goes rushing in. That's not what he did this time, and I think it worked for him. Miocic is a good fighter, knows how to win fights, knows how to win title fights, and I think Miocic was like, after the first round, like, what the hell, dude? I mean, couldn't get him to the ground, got touched many times. So yeah, it was a very good performance by Ngannou, man.
I agree. And to answer your question, Andre, I mean, can I say everything? I mean, what didn't impress me? Like, the guy looked amazing. I don't know how Stipe survived that first round, by the way. I mean, he took some huge shots, Marcel. There was one point where he, like, turned his body, and Francis was just raining punches. I thought he was done. Somehow he survived that. I think the sprawl for sure, and that picture's floating around. I mean, it's incredible. Like, I figured he would have worked on that, but we saw that, it's even better than we could have expected, I think. But not just that, the patience, like you said, and the kicks. I thought the kicks we've never seen him throw a kick, I don't think, right? I don't remember last time he threw a kick, Marcel. So I thought that was really nice to see, the low kicks. And also he threw a high kick too. I mean, the guy's incredible. He's amazing, right? I've always liked Francis. The first time I saw him in the UFC, I thought he was a special fighter. I think all of us did. There's just certain guys you see the first time in the UFC, you think, man, this guy's going to be a champ one day. And that was one of the guys. There's been a few other guys over the years. Chris Weidman, I remember when he beat, I think it was Sakara in his debut, I believe, or Bongfeld, one of those two guys. destroyed them. And I was like, man, this guy. And then he beat Munoz. I was like, man, this guy could win the belt. There's a few guys like that over the years, you know. I just think he's a special talent, man. I really do. Andre says he was kind of sad seeing Stipe know he had nothing for. Yeah, I mean, that's a bad matchup now, man. It's crazy, right? What 3 years does, right? What heavyweights do you think has the best chance of defending Francis? Great question. Well, Derek Lewis already beat him. So, I mean, he's at the top of the list. I understand it wasn't the same Ngannou. It was just like the first Stipe fight. Like, he was very he just wasn't there mentally in that fight. If you watch the fight, like, over again, he didn't throw. He just wasn't there mentally. I think he was a broken man at that point after that Stipe loss. But Derek Lewis did beat him already. So, he does have that experience being in the cage with him. And Derek Lewis has amazing knockout power. Having said that, Derek Lewis has been knocked out a lot of times, guys. By like Matt Mitrione, I think, knocked him out, and Sean Jordan knocked him out. Marcel, like, so his chin is not great. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be Jones, right? It would have to be Jones, Andre. Like, when you think about it, because Jon has the style that he could play that outside game for 5 rounds. You know, he's did it before so many times, right? Like, he just kind of dances on the outside. I think in a small cage, it's a tough matchup for Jones, but in a big cage, Marcel, I think Jones has a better chance to win. So to answer Andre's question, what would you say?
Definitely Jon Jones, man. I also think Jon Jones has probably a better ground game than Stipe, you know. So I want to see if Ngannou can prevent the takedown against Jon Jones if he goes for a takedown. But like you said, man, I think if it's in a big cage, it's a pretty big advantage for Jones. You know, he can keep him on the outside. He can out-tire him. You know what I mean? So I think that's I'd say Jones as well, man. I don't know who else at this moment. It should be maybe
Nick's saying gone, and Glenn is saying gone as well. He's saying, would they fight? I think they would for the title. They're not. They don't train together anymore, but they obviously used to. They came up together. That's a great fight, man. That's a fight we'll probably see, guys, in the next couple of years. I would say, Marcel.
Yeah,
is good. What are you gonna say?
I think it's too early for Ghana.
It is. He's not ready for it yet, but you know, he's in Francis's spot where he was a few years ago in Stipe, right? Like, he's still kind of green, you know. I think he needs a little bit more experience personally. Like, he looked obviously. I mean, the last fight was a joke. Let's be honest. Like, Rosenstruck was unwilling to throw in that fight. It was just an easy matchup, but you know, I'd like to see Gone against like Blades or Lewis, someone who's going to really test him and push him. You know, like or even Volkov. That's another guy. It's an interesting matchup, right? So yeah, I mean, like, listen, guys, Francis is going to be favored against everyone in that division. He really will be. He's going to be the big favorite against everyone, and I'm not saying he's going to beat everyone, but you know, the odds makers will put him as the favorite against everyone. Nick says Jon can chain Russell Francis and eventually exhaust Francis. Possibly, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking he just kind of stays on the outside, right? If he did it, we might as well talk about that now. There was the story that came out today, and Francis is kind of stumping for Jones. He's saying, "Hey, UFC, pay the guy what he deserves. I want to make this fight." Right? He obviously has a vested interest. Obviously, Jones yesterday, Marcel says, cut me, and deletes the tweets. What do you think's going to happen here, man? You think they're going to get a deal done, Marcel, or you think they're going to go to Lewis and screw Jones over? What do you think's going to happen?
It kind of depends, man. I mean, if Francis definitely wants to fight Jones, maybe they will try again. But I mean, if Francis says I'm also cool with the Lewis rematch, they might do just a Lewis rematch. You know, the UFC with their money, they don't give many fighters what they demand or whatever, or they don't negotiate a lot for some.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I mean, if they're smart, they're going with Jones and they make a lot of money. But I don't know.
Yeah, I was watching James talk to Jim West today. He was like a coach, Mary Renault, Max Griffin, Aspen Ladd. He was talking about how, the UFC is worth like $12 billion now, and he's just like, the fighters need to get paid more money. He was talking about how, the minimum salary is still $12,000 and $12,000 or so. It's a joke. Yeah. It's a joke. I mean, what professional sport pays their athletes that little? I mean, come on. I'm a bowler. I think bowlers make even more money than some of these fighters. That doesn't make sense, guys. I mean, these guys are putting their lives on the line. What are you gonna say?
I was kind of shocked, man. I saw from Icon Fights, it's also kind of a new promotion, and I saw what was the payment? 300 to show and 300 to win. I was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's too low. The pay needs to be fixed in the sport for sure. And we talked about it yesterday. We kind of agreed that Jones is worth the money if they do it. Let's talk about Sean O'Malley. He's out there. He's talking about who could fight next. He's saying he's interested in the Cruz fight. I think this fight sells itself, Marcel. It seems kind of an easy one to book now. I know Barcelos also called out O'Malley today. Jorge Barcelos. I love Ione, but I'd rather see Ione fight like Rafael Sunsao or something like that, and then you do O'Malley versus Cruz. My original idea was actually a Sunsao too, but the more I think about it, I think Cruz kind of is a bigger fight. You got the fact to just be his teammate Casey Kenny. What do you think, Marcel? You think they do O'Malley against Cruz?
Yeah, most likely, man. If Cruz is invested and O'Malley is invested, why not? I think I said before I really like the matchup O'Malley against Song Yadong or O'Malley against Ricky Simone.
Sure.
And even the winner of Stamen against Dvalishvili, because both guys have called out O'Malley before.
But, I just think they're going to keep him away from these grapplers, man. I don't think they would
give
him a rap.
It kind of sucks, to be honest.
I know. Man. It's like, you know what? Honestly, he's like MVP right now. Like, they're matchmaking him against guys that he can beat, right?
By the way, talking about MVP, I asked you yesterday, do you know what those
Yes, I saw that. So it's the amount of first place votes. Yes, I saw that.
That's horrible, man. Eight people had MVP as the #1 contender. That's just horrible.
Nick says, by the way, he says O'Malley Simone, he likes that fight. Yeah, I mean, that's the next thing I want to talk about was Bellator, so let's just get into it now. All right, so can you believe this, guys? I put the tweet out last night. It's got like 1,000 likes. It went viral. Like, people are they're just sick and tired of the matchmaking for this guy. It's terrible. Michael Page. How is he the #1 contender in this division, Marcel? It doesn't make no sense to me. He literally has 0 wins over anyone ranked, guys. Literally has 0 wins. This guy is the most overrated fighter in MMA. He is beyond overrated. Like, honestly, I don't think he's that exciting either. Like, it's not really fun watching him crush cans, Marcel. I got to be honest. I'd rather see him get tested. And the one time we did see him get tested against Douglas Lima, he got brutally knocked out. I'm not saying I don't dislike this guy as a person or as a fighter. I think he's an entertaining guy at times, but the matchmaking is just pathetic. I mean, come on. Really, guys? Like, he's not new to Bellator. You know, Marcel, how long he's been in Bellator for? Since 2013. Can you believe that? Since 2013 has 0 top 10 wins. How is he #1 contender? Tell me, Marcel, what are your thoughts on this, man? This is ridiculous to me.
I mean, there was some questionable rankings, and this was probably the worst one of all.
It's bad.
I mean, I don't know, man. I also saw one ranking. I actually want to see the individual rankings because I saw one.
I'd like to see that too. Yeah.
Had Leslie Smith also picked as the #1 contender. I was like, are we serious even here? Nothing against Leslie Smith, but that's just stupid. For example, Fabian Edwards over Costello Vincennes, who recently got beat by Costello Vincennes. And I have to, with my countrywoman, man. I mean, Denise Kilo, she did very well in Bellator so far. I think she has a 3-fight win streak.
Holland gave her a first place vote too.
Yeah. They don't even listen, man. That they put Alima Lay, McFarlane #1. I don't care. That's okay. She was a long-time champion. But how can you get Carmouche over her with 1 win over Deanna Bennett?
Right. Yeah, I agree. Here, Fabrizio's in the chat. He says, "Good afternoon from Brazil." Hey, how's it going, man? What time is it in Rio right now? I forgot what time it is. I was there 2 years ago. Right now it's 8 o'clock. Okay, so good evening. Yeah. That's awesome, though. Look at this, man. We got people from all around the world. I love it. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, honestly, my tweet wasn't more so against the rankings. It was more pointing towards MVP and the matchmaking. The rankers, they did what they did their job. I think Amosov should be the #1 contender, but I'm not going to go and cry about it. My tweet was more about the matchmaking. It really was, because if you read it, it wasn't like, the rankings are like you guys screwed up. It was, this guy is overrated. Literally, the definition of overrated. Let me read the I went to the definition on Webster's. Overrated. Let me read it. I want to read it to you guys. Overrated definition: rated or valued too highly. Have a higher opinion of someone that is deserved. That is literally what this guy is. Let's pull up his record, Marcel. I mean, it pisses me off that this guy is getting so much love, like, by the media and by. I only think it's just the media, because quite frankly, look at the responses to my tweet, man. He got destroyed from people. Like, they're not entertained by this guy. It's not fun watching this guy, just crush cans all the time. Like, look at it. Okay, Marcel, look how long he's been in Bellator for, dude. Since 2013. Let's see who else was on this card. Bellator 93. Dave Jansen. This guy retired years ago. He was the main event. Retired 5 years ago. Look at this. Marcus Davis versus Joaquin Spirit Wolf Marcel. Look, Jack Hermanson was on this card. What the hell? Jack Hermanson lost. Yeah, he had a rough run in Bellator. He wasn't very good back then. But that's the point. Like, That's how long it's been since this guy has been in Bellator, guys, since 2013. And let's look through his wins. Who is Ryan? I don't know who that is. I literally don't know who that is. Ricky Rainey was in the UFC a few times. He wasn't very good. Same with Nashon Burrell. He's in the UFC. He wasn't very good. Rudy Bad News Bears, a regional scene veteran. Charlie Ontiveros, we just saw him get destroyed by Kevin Holland or whatever. Jeremy Holloway, this is not Max Holloway. Evangelista Cyborg Santos. I mean, this was a brutal knockout. It was an incredible knockout. Yeah.
I mean, fucker threw a Pokeball to him after he crushed his skull.
That was disgusting, by the way. Remember that? Was. I get it. It's the fight game, guys, but that was really fucking uncalled for, man. I mean, I just think this guy's a douche. I mean, like what the hell, man? Fernando Gonzalez split this. This was a terrible. He could have lost this fight, guys. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. Beats David Rickles, who's not. Someone told me today they were like, he beat David Rickles. That's a great win. I'm like, really, David Rickles?
David Rickles was actually a lightweight. We came to welterweight. It was not even a welterweight, whatever.
Exactly, I know. And then Paul Daly's a good win. I'll give him that. That's a good win. It was a close fight, but he did win it, so I'll give him that.
It was a good win name wise, but it was a sucky fight.
It was. He was getting all wrestled, right? It wasn't a very good fight, but I'll give him that. I'll give him credit for that one. So that's a good win. We'll give him that one. Then Lima knocked him out. And then look who he's beat. Look at these guys. Who is like Richard Kiley, Giovanni Miello, Shinzo Anza, another guy who sucked in the UFC, and Ross Houston. I'll give Ross Houston. That's not a bad win. But it wasn't even at welterweight. It was at 175, Marcel. It wasn't even a welterweight contest. So I'm not sure you guys. I think he's the most overrated fighter in MMA. I really do. Like this guy. You know what? This is actually a good comment here. It says Masvidal for MVP. That's a good fight. But someone said, what about Masvidal? Because he doesn't have any top 10 wins either. That is true. That is true, Marcel. Believe it or not, he actually doesn't. But let's pull up Masvidal. Here's the thing, and I agree. That is actually true. Based on the current ranking, he doesn't. But he's also been around forever. And he's also, if you look at his record, he has good wins. He actually has a win over, Michael Chiesa. That was a lightweight. But still, that is a top 10 win. So that's not true. He does have a top 10 win. And then, Cerrone at the time was good. Darren Till at the time was really good. Same with Ben Askren and Nate Diaz. Again, it's so easy to look back at fights and be like, man, these guys aren't good. Like, they weren't good. They're not ranked. But at the time, they were good. Compared to Michael Page, Marcel, those guys were never good. Like Ryan Sanders, who is that guy, Marcel? Like Rudy Bears, like these guys aren't good. So I don't know. It just bothers me because I think a guy like this, I'll give you this guy, I think he's the best. There's not Askarov, Amosov. This guy, to me, is the real number one contender. 27 years old. Look at his record, guys. 25-0, never lost. And Marcel, he's actually beaten better competition. He actually has better wins. This is a good win. Roberto Soljic. That's a good win, Marcel. Gerald Harris is a better win probably than anything that MVP's done. Eric Silva is not. It's not terrible. It's not a great win. It's not a terrible win. Dave Rickles, okay, whatever. Ed Roos, a good win. Mark Lemminger, whatever. Logan Storley's a great win. So I don't know, man. Like to me, this guy's got the better record. I don't know, Marcel. Like I understand the media, they like MVP. They want that fight to happen, but come on, guys. Like this, he shouldn't be ranked one.
Should I add another fighter to that? And I get a lot of shit for this because I know it's really popular. James Gallagher. He's also another guy. I mean, now he's finally matched up with Patchy Mix, which is a very good fight, But I mean,
look at his wins. Like Mike Cutting, Anthony Taylor. I know who this guy is. Chinzo Majida was a good win. I'll give him that. That's a pretty good win at the time. It was okay. It's not Leota, but it's not bad. But who's this guy? Kirill Medvedovsky. I don't know him. Stephen Graham. I don't know him. Do you know him? Stephen Graham. I don't know.
No.
Jeremiah, and he lost to Ben Diaz, who's a good fighter. Labiano, I'm familiar with. Roman Seller did fight in the UFC against Kid Yamamoto, I think.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember. It was like a no contest, I believe. And Cal Allen, I don't know who that guy is really either too well. I know he's a Bellator fighter, obviously, guys. But the point is, I mean, is he ranked number one too? Is he the number one contender?
He's not the number one contender, but he is higher than Magomed Magomedov. He's higher than. Let me check the rankings.
I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'm just gonna pull it up on the screen. Let's pull it up
you
here.
too?
Yeah, I'll put it up here. Just watch it on here. It's just easier that way. All right. So
your browser was quicker than mine.
Damn I know, right? I got fast internet here, man. Holy crap. Okay, bantamweight, right? So
bantamweight.
Oh, sorry. It's actually this way. All right. Juan Arch, obviously. Okay, so that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, I think Magomedov's a better fighter. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And here I'm gonna get these comments from Glenn. He says MVP's managed by Paradigm, not doing too well to get Leon. I don't know what they're doing. Gallagher management. I don't even know if it's really his management group, man. I think it's just Bellator's matchmaking. Listen, I think Rich Child's a great matchmaker. I mean, the guy did, Rumble on the Rock. He did Strikeforce. He's a great matchmaker, but I understood why they gave him cans, Marcel, for like the first couple of years of his career. He's 8 years into his Bellator career, guys. Come on. I mean, this is a joke. Shinzo Anzai, Marcel, Richard Kiley, Giovanni Mielo, Ross Houston. Come on. They got to find someone better than that, Again, it's just, I don't know what to say, man. There's some good divisions. I mean, this division is great, by the way. The featherweight is awesome. Like, Mads Burnell's a really good fighter. He's ranked number 10. Like, he's really good, right?
Yeah.
So,
he actually he would have won against Arnold Allen if he didn't get caught in the last few seconds.
By the way, why is Weichel ranked number 5? Why is he not ranked number 3? Why is Boric ranked number 3? I think Weichel's weird. That's weird too, right? Like, yeah. So I get it. There's growing pains, guys. I don't want to bash the rankers too much because they did their best they could. But I mean, this is like some of this stuff is just making me really scratch my head. Wow, Brant Primus is still number contender at lightweight. That's great. That lightweight division is not very good, eh?
No.
It's not great. So their featherweight division is good, but this welterweight, this just bothers me. I mean, he should be obviously here, and also Neiman Gracie could be higher too, I think, right? Or Jason Jackson. Both those guys are
good. Dude, Logan Starley would drop him on his head and will out wrestle him for 3 rounds.
How about this one? I laughed at this because you don't see it here, but someone gave Vanderford number 1 contender vote. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Austin Vanderford. Who is he beating? No one. Charlie Ward's a top 10 fighter. I think they should have stuck to top 5, man. Peace, Nick. No worries, man. They should have stuck to top 5, Marcel. What do you think? Definitely. And then looking at this, what do you think of this division here? And listen, we have to remember they didn't add in Romero and Johnson, so we'll take off those 2 guys. But still, I mean, how can you say the best heavyweight division in MMA?
You just can't say that. It's absolutely crazy to say that. I mean, yeah. Listen, man. I love Melvin Manhoef. He's my countryman. He's been an absolute pioneer for the Netherlands. But you can't put him in the top 10 right now, man, in the light heavyweight division.
I agree.
You can't.
And then looking at heavyweight, I think Fedor might be a little bit, actually that's not true. He's probably ranked where he should be compared, because these guys aren't great either. But like, why is Karatanov above Ayala? He knocked him out. Ayala knocked out Karatanov.
Also, Tyree or Tyrell Fortune had.
There's 2 of them.
I know. One of the 2 had a number 1 contender on the vote from him.
I think it was Tyrell, right? I think Tyrell. Someone gave him I don't know how, right? Didn't he lose to Tim Johnson? I think.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So yeah, here's a great. Hey Marcus, how's it going, man? He says Darren Till's overrated. Oh, dude, so overrated. Had him losing to Wonder Boy when he did not make weight. He should be 1-4 in his last 5 fights, and he probably would have lost this fight too. I'm with you completely, Marcus. Yeah, he's a talented guy, but I mean, really doesn't. How many good wins does he have? Not very many. Who would you put it as your kind of most overrated fighter in MMA right now? Like, who would you put up there?
In MMA?
Yeah, or UFC or Bellator. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you want. Like, anyone you could think about?
You have actually a lot, man. I mean,
give me some. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I still think Sean O'Malley is overrated, man. He's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, but he's not tested on the ground against any wrestler yet, and I want to see it. For a long time I thought Adesanya was overrated until I saw the Gastelum fight, and I was like, okay, he's maybe not overrated, and he's definitely not. So maybe I'm wrong. Who else? Let me think. It's like when the UFC or Bellator pushes certain fighters where I'm like, yeah, why are you pushing him and don't push this guy, because I think this guy has much more than Kevin Holland. Listen, man, I like him a lot. He's a good fighter. He's a solid fighter. But I also think the UFC thinks they have the next level guy over there, which I don't see in him. I see a lot of flaws in his game, and not just against Brunson, but you saw it against Gerald Mearshart as well. You saw it against Brandon Allen. You saw it against Alessio Di Chirico. And 2 of those 4 fights he won by decision. And I thought he lost those fights.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah,
there are some, I think for example, many people think Khamzat Chimaev is overrated. I don't think you can say
No,
that.
I don't think so. I just think, I think he's very talented. I think he's very,
Yeah.
But he shouldn't have been fighting Edwards. Let's be honest. The Magny fight made sense the whole time, right? I think so.
Yeah. Listen, man. Paddy Pimblett, who got signed like 2 days ago, he also some European fans act like he's a world beater. I don't know, man.
Paddy Pimblett, that guy? You're saying that guy?
Yeah.
He's pretty good, but he's lost a bunch of times, guys. Like he lost to Nadner Imani and Soren Beck beat him too. Marcel, guy who's in Bellator now, like 2 fights ago. So I think he's gonna have some fun fights. I think it's a good signing.
For sure.
He's a fun guy, but he's not a future champ, I don't think, guys. Like, hold your horses on this guy. Anytime these guys from Cage Warriors come in, Marcel, the British fans, they love them, right? Like, they're just so excited.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than Connor, really, I mean, and I guess Jack Hermanson, who just mentioned who's in Cage Warriors, like, who's really been doing that well from Cage Warriors lately? I think it's a great promotion, by the way. One of the best promotions for sure. But these guys aren't really champions necessarily. He's saying Vettori would have submitted Till, by the way. That's what he says. Yeah, I really like Vettori in that fight. Damn it, Marcel. Sources are better at talking. Scousers are better at talking than fighting. There's some good Scousers, man. Bisping is a good fighter.
I know who he is. He's from England, and he's not from Liverpool, so that's probably why he says it.
There's some good ones out there, but Michael Page is older than me. He's 33 years old. That's crazy, man. I don't feel like a young guy, and somehow he's older than me. He's been in Bellator. He's been in Bellator as long as I've been doing this, covering this sport, which is a freaking long time, guys. Actually, I've been a little bit longer, but still. I remember messaging on Facebook years ago to get an interview, didn't respond. Thoughts on Demir and Alves? Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. I mean, this is the UFC saying you screwed up and you missed weight by 20 pounds, or what is it, 20 pounds? Or 13 pounds, right? And they're punishing this dude. They're punishing this guy. Demir hasn't fought in 2 years. So he has to get kind of a layup fight here, but this is a terrible matchup for the turn. I think this guy gets destroyed in this fight. I mean, I don't think I have to watch tape on this one, guys. Like, Demir Ismagulov is a very good prospect, Marcel. What do you think?
Very good, probably indeed the dark horse of the division. It sucks that he hasn't fought for such a long time because he could have been further in his career in the UFC. Yeah, man. Odd fight, to be honest, from a point of like Demir did very good in his first fights in the UFC, and now he's getting a newcomer in Alves. It's probably a good fight for Demir to get back in the octagon, and for Alves,
I agree.
Pretty much, he get punished. I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. Just got this comment. I agree with this one too. Vettori, he's really good, man. He's like, and like the fight with Israel was super close, and this guy's improving too. He was on that Bellator card when that's the first one where Rustam Paul Harris lost to what's that guy's name? He fought Jordan Mean in the UFC. What's his name, Marcel?
Who you said again? Sorry, give me.
Paul Harris. He's in the what's his name, guys? I can't. Let me think about it. The Bellator one. Oh, Emil Weber Mech. That guy.
The Norwegian.
Yeah. Remember what happened to that guy? Where'd he go?
I don't know. You just should have said the guy with the sperm on his chest, and I would have known what you mean.
What happened to this guy? He just disappeared. He hasn't fought. Oh, he hasn't fought in a year. He's fought once in the last 3 years. What the hell happened to him?
He has a lot of trouble when people take him down as well.
I know. I remember he fought Jordan Mean in Toronto, man. He looked great in that fight. I was at that fight. He looked awesome. Paige Van Zandt. Oh yes, that's a great one too, Marcel. I remember getting Rose Namajunas at plus money against Paige Van Zandt. Plus money and Rose Namajunas. That was awesome.
I mean, the actual fight was Paige Van Zandt against Joanne Calderwood, right? That was the actual main event. And I was like, yeah, maybe Paige can do something with the ground game there. And then they matched her with Rose Namajunas. It was like a huge mistake.
I know.
Huge mistake.
Here's a good question. He's talking about Guram Kutazaladze. I saw him tweeting today. He said he wants to fight someone. Who did he say?
Yeah, he wanted Paddy Pimblett.
Oh, he wants Pimblett. Yeah, there you go. So that's the fight. He asked for Paddy, the baddie. He said, give him to me. That's a bad matchup. I think Guram Kutazaladze is very good, Marcel. I think he's very underrated. What do you think of this guy, Guram? Yeah.
Yeah, he also trains with Chimaev.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of those guys. Yeah, man. He's with those beasts.
He beat Gamrot in his UFC debut, was undefeated, and it was a close fight. It's actually funny that Guram said he didn't want to fight, but I think he did, to be honest. I had him 29-28. So
when will Romanov Espino get announced? I thought it was announced because there's a betting odds for it now. Isn't it announced or no?
So the thing here is, from my view, one side says it's done. The other side tells me the whole damn time, wait till the UFC announce it. Wait till the UFC announce it. So you can be pretty sure the fight is done for April 17th.
Yeah, and there's odds though, guys. It's minus
Yeah.
135 and for Romanov. He's the small favorite. Again, I have to look at. Yeah,
I'm not going to post it until the UFC.
I know you like Romanov, so I mean, in that fight, obviously you like him there. I like Espino. He's dangerous, but he's old, man. He's like 41 maybe now. He's getting.
Yeah.
Is he 41? Let me double check that. He might be. Juan Espino. He's 40. He turned 41 this year. Yeah, I like him though. I mean, he doesn't. He's a guy that doesn't look his age. I'll say that. He's a bit of a younger 40-year-old.
He did that Senegalese wrestling. He did, all right.
Yeah, man.
Rock did as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, Marcel, I was just going to say in general, though, guys, I think the biggest problem with the rankings and just in general, I think the media and MMA are really scared to be critical of the fighters. I think the media are so scared of being banned by their managers or whatever. I don't have that problem. I don't care. You guys see my tweets on TV. I'm criticizing them. I say what I see, and if I see something good, I say it. But if, for instance, that fight with Ashley Yoder a few weeks ago, and they put my tweet up saying her chin's in the air, can't she put her hands down? I mean, I think that's the kind of stuff that I think people are scared to say, and for some reason the media, Marcel, you don't see them being critical very much. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that kind of bothers me. I don't get to go to the events. These guys are all at the events, and they always ask Dana and the fighters these layup questions. And I think I read what the fans say. The fans are pissed off. They're like, can you ask them some better questions? You know what I mean, Marcel? It's oh, Dana White, they're always sucking up to Dana White. Did you watch a lot?
It's so annoying.
It's so annoying. Really, you don't need to, guys. I've been in tons of press conferences, never sucked up once.
Oh, Dana, thank you so much for doing all these events during this pandemic. How did it happen that you could do this? And thank you so much, Dana. And can I come under the table, Dana, and do some things to you, Dana? Oh, my God.
Okay, well, I didn't say that. You said that. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's the one thing that's missing with the media right now is just the being critical, It's not being mean. It's not being rude. It's just being critical and being hey, calling it out. Calling it like you see it with Michael Page. I'm the only guy who said anything. That's why I have 1,000 likes on that. I didn't expect it to be like that. I don't clout chase. I don't care how many likes. But someone just said it. Mike MMA Picks just tweeted us and was like, "Dude, this tweet exploded." I mean, it did. And the reason why, guys, is because people want to say that. There's too many people who are scared to say that. But they want. I think people want to hear the truth. And the truth is that guy's super protected. I actually had Anthony Rocco Martin reply to it. He said, "You saw that, right?" He's like, "I don't know if he's overrated, but he's super protected."
Yeah.
What are you protecting him from? He's 33 years old, Marcel. I understand when he was 25 years old. Yeah, it made sense 8 years ago, right? But anyways, I don't want to talk about this guy anymore. I'm sorry.
And I'm still not big on protecting. I'm like, if you're good, you're good.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing I love about the UFC, because they do protect a few guys like Sean O'Malley, obviously a little bit, but in general, they really don't. They throw these guys in the fire, man. Miranda Maverick had that's a young 23-year-old girl. They threw her in a tough matchup against a really good grappler, and she still won. But they want to see how good you are. You know what I mean, Marcel? The UFC is not. They're looking for the UFC is looking for the best fighters in the world right now. That's what they are looking for. The UFC is looking for the best fighter in each division. I don't think Bellator really is doing that, man. I don't think they're looking for the best fighter, Marcel. I think they're just looking for a fun fight, really, or a fight to build up someone. I think the UFC, though, really tries to look for the best fighters in the world. I truly believe that. And that's why you do see guys get cut now, because they're trying to find new guys. All those heavyweights get cut, and then you bring in new guys like Tom Aspinall and Chris Dawkins, Marcel. They're younger, and they could potentially be the best fighter in the world one day, right? So I don't know what you think about that, Marcel, but I just think that there's a lack of criticism a little bit,
I agree with you. And listen, man, you can be criticizing people and decisions that are made, as long as you do it in a respectful way.
Exactly. I'm never disrespectful about it. Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't see me saying this guy sucks. Never been fighter bashing. It's just what I see,
And you can back up your argument, If you can back up your argument, that's no problem, But the thing is, man, if you're going to criticize Dana in a press conference, you get shit,
Of course. That's not the right thing to do. You don't want to do that. I get it. Trust me. You have to play the game. We're all in the media. I'm in the media. I get that.
But it's bad. I think it's really bad.
There's just a little bit too much stepping up a little bit lately. I've noticed a little bit too much.
When the organization or the promotion gonna make the rules for the media. That's bad, you know.
People are afraid to lose their credentials. That's quite frankly
Yeah,
what's
I understand,
going on.
but I understand that. Yeah, but that's bad. You know, that's really bad if that happens.
But I mean, it's a private company; they can do what they want, right? But of course,
yeah, of course.
if it's like baseball or hockey, like you would see that it'd be a huge story if that happened, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, you know, I was talking to Loretta Hunt. You know her? She's a journalist. Yeah. I asked her to come on the show, guys. I'd like for her to come on. I really would. She said that she's not really willing to do a podcast at this point, but I'd like to get her on sometime. She said if she's going to change her mind, she'll do it with us. So I'd love to get Loretta on because Loretta was one of the few people that stood up to Dana White, Marcel. One of the few people. And remember what happened?
You got to fill me in here. I'm drawing a blank.
She stood up a little bit and said some critical stuff, and he called her the C word, which is not nice. And then she took her credentials away. But she was one of the few people. And Josh Gross is another guy who stood up a little bit. I'm not saying you need to get to that level where you're getting banned, but I just think there's just a lack of criticism, man. Like it's too much. The thing with MMA is like there's a lot of people are very sensitive in the sport. It's weird, right? Because it's like it's a macho sport. Like you're beating each other up in the cage, but then like for instance, Megan Anderson, you say one thing about her, she goes on a tantrum online, like blocks you and. Like she blocked my boy Drake Riggs. Drake Riggs is like her biggest fan. She blocked him on Twitter because he posted that thing about the Twitch thing. Yeah, because he's the one who broke the news saying, "Hey, she just announced she's retiring," and she got pissed off at him and blocked him because he posted a story from her own Twitch. Can you believe that? Yeah,
she blocked him for real. Drake who picked her to win against Amanda Nunes.
Yeah,
okay, that's crazy.
He was pretty sad about it. I was like, dude, don't worry about it, man. It's not a big deal. I was just trying to tell him like. Because you know what's funny? I sent Drake. I'm like, dude, great job with the story. You're the first guy in this. You're trying to get the stories up first. You have to get it right, but you got to get it first, right? He was the first guy who got that. I said, Drake, great job, man. Because I'm the editor now, right? And I'm like, awesome job. And he's just like, yeah, but was it worth it, man? You know, now she hates me, and I'm like, hey, the same thing happened to me and Dan Hardy a few weeks ago, man. You know, like the same similar thing. Dan didn't unfollow me though. He didn't block me. Dan was a man about it. You saw the way we talked. We hashed it out for everyone to see. That wasn't something I wanted to do, guys. I mean, I didn't want everyone to see that, but at least that happened. And at least I was like, hey, this is what happened. I'm explaining to you, Dan. I respect Dan Hardy. He's a fighter. He's a commentator, good at what he does. But, you know, he was pissed off by the story. But the truth is, Marcel, sometimes the news is not flattering. And that's what I'm going to say. The news is not always good news, right?
Yeah, I mean, Dan Hardy was probably pissed off at me as well because he unfollowed me like a year ago.
Did he? He actually didn't unfollow me, which is crazy. And he even messaged me and was like, I totally understand where you're coming from, man. He was basically like, I see your side of it. But I mean, I'm glad he's back in the sport, by the way.
I said like that the commentary was kind of biased in the fight between Paul Felder and Dan Hooker. That they were like Dan Hooker was like way ahead, and I was like, this is pretty even.
It was a close fight. That could have went either way. That fight, yeah. So.
Who put that out again? Mike Biggie Rhodes.
Oh, okay.
Mike Biggie Rhodes. He put out like, the commentary wasn't that great, and then Dan Hardy replied on that, and then was Mike screenshotted my tweet, and he's like, I'm not the only one who thought like that.
Yeah.
After that, he unfollowed me. So listen, man, if he can take honest criticism, I don't give a fuck.
It's like Cormier a few weeks ago when people were like, "Yo, you were really biased." He's like, "No, I wasn't. I wasn't biased." It was like, "Yeah, you were, bro. You really were." Like in the Adesanya fight, that was not good. Anyways, I got these comments. I'll get used in a second, Jose. Let me get this one from Glenn. Media are too scared to be critical against UFC in case they lose their credentials. All expense paid trips to UAE, pay for being involved in promos time. Mike, I'm sure it's the same. Yeah, dude, you're not wrong, man. Here's the thing about me. I don't have to go to the events, and I still get paid the same amount of money. So for me, it's all good. But even when I went, if you guys go and watch the old press conferences where I was there was one – it's pretty funny. There was a UFC 165, the Jones and Gustafsson fight. Have you watched that press conference, Marcel, or that scrum? I was asking him about Bellator. Remember that? Do you remember that? He was like, do you work for Bellator, man? Do you remember that? I was like, what do you think of Bellator and Bjorn Rebney? And people were like, why are you asking about Bellator? I was like, why not, right? I was like, why not? I remember I was also the guy who asked him, hey, you guys cut Rumble Johnson. He just picked up another win in Titan FC. What do you think about him and Andrei Arlovsky fighting in the World Series of Fighting? And he was like, that's an illegitimate fight. But I'm the only one who asked that because people were scared to ask him that, which is silly, man.
Yeah.
And they don't even let me go anymore, guys. It's really unfortunate. I would love to be there, but it's all good, man. I love my life right now, man. I love my job. It's all good, man. I'm doing better than I ever have in this business, guys. I'm doing really good. I got guys like Marcel, got all you guys in the chat, man. Things are great. You think Rashid Magomedov never showed his true potential? I think that's what you meant, Rashid Magomedov. Did he win the other day? He won, right?
Yeah. I think he's good, man. I think he got cut too early.
By the way, that guy Frodo Kazbalayev, man, what a beast, eh? Frodo.
Yeah, Frodo was good. Frodo was in Bellator before, man.
I know he was a small favorite to win. I thought about betting on him. I didn't. I really wish I did.
But also his opponent Felipe Frost or whatever is his name. He's good as well.
Right? He missed weight for that fight. Yeah.
But what about Magomed Bibulatov, man?
He won, right?
He won
He won a title. Why was he caught by the way from the UFC? Why did he get caught?
He lost twice. He lost against Moraga by knockout, and then he got, in my opinion, robbed against Bontorin.
Bontorin by split decision. Yeah, it was a close fight. Yeah. Jose says, you know what, Roy Ray's contract. I mean, how many fights does he have, man? Like a few, and one's contracts are pretty ironclad. By the way, I don't think they're gonna let him out.
No, once contracts aren't really.
You can't. There's no out clause. Yeah, you can't leave. Umar Kane. Do you know him? Umar Kane.
Yeah, that's Roy.
Oh, it is. Okay. What do you think of Boser and Latifi? It's an interesting fight. I mean, Latifi. It's funny because I posted the fight and people were like, "Latifi's still in the UFC. Latifi sucks." Latifi doesn't really suck. Latifi probably beat Derek Lewis.
Arguably beat Derek Lewis. Yeah.
I had a bet on Lewis, but I was like, shit, I think he lost. And then somehow he got the split decision. So
you saw Latifi laughing when they were at the scorecards.
But you know what? Boser, Boser's going to be favored in that fight. Even though, he's coming off a terrible fight with Arlovsky. That fight was bad. Why did Bert Watson stop working for the UFC? Great question. So, Bert Watson. We rolling, baby. We rolling. I miss this guy, man. He was great. He got the fighters so fired up. I met him once, Marcel. I was lucky enough to meet him at UFC 152 Jones in Belfort in the media room. He was an awesome guy. I think he follows me on Twitter too. He's doing something with MMA Junkie now. He basically tells his old stories. He was great. He was awesome. The fighters respected the fucking shit out of that guy. And when they changed the ownership, he was one of the guys that got the boot. I don't know why, but I just know that he was very well respected by the fighters, Marcel. Do you remember what happened there?
Yeah, wasn't there something with Mark Munoz or something that he had to weigh in for a second time? And I'm
going to read it right now. There's an article here at MMA Fighting. Let me read it. It's from 6 years ago. Explains the confrontation led to him. Oh, he says he quit the UFC, actually, Marcus. My bad. He didn't get fired. Okay. He says, let's see here. Confrontation with the person in authority is abrupt departure at UFC 184. He was contacted by phone by Zuffa following a travel miscommunication after. Oh, okay. The weigh-ins, you were saying. Mark Munoz missed weight on the first attempt. Had to stay at the LA Live to weigh in again. After the second weigh-in, Munoz was somehow left with no weight, getting back to the hotel. Oh, okay. Yeah, that sucks. After Munoz agreed to return to the hotel after making weight, Watson greeted him and everything seemed fine. Then he got a call from the UFC, whose name he would not disclose. The conversation, which he found offensive, resulted in quitting after 14 years with the UFC. He didn't want to say who it was. Donna Marcioloni, he was one of the names, and Fertitta and Dana. I don't know if Donna works for the UFC anymore. I'm not sure. Does she still work for the UFC? Or is she one of the people that got like Donna Marcoloni or whatever? She's still there. VP of Health Performance. Yeah, she's still there. She's another one of these executives. Maybe that was the person Dan Hardy yelled at. Maybe that was the person. She's been in the UFC forever. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that like fans don't see, but Bert Watson was a guy that I'm telling you right now, man. The fighters love that guy, Marcel. They all told me how much they respected him. And I think it was a big loss. I think, another guy was a big loss was Stitch Duran, the cut man. Remember him?
Stitch was never my friend, yeah.
Why? Why didn't you like Stitch?
No, not me. Dana said that.
Dana said yeah. I was like, yeah. Dude, Stitch, this guy he was one of the best cut men I ever had. Like, unbelievable cut man. So I'll put the pictures up. This guy was great, great guy. Legendary cut man. Let's read this.
Icon, in my opinion.
Let's read this story, guys. Open another window. Let's read this together. Legendary comment, Citroen said UFC fired for comments about Reebok deal. Jesus. And he wasn't wrong either. You'll be the first to know the UFC has let me go because I spoke about the Reebok deal. Man, he was that's not he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And I think he's doing pretty well for himself because he does a lot of boxers now and stuff, Marcel. And I think he does PFL, if I'm not mistaken. I believe. I can't remember now. But
it's always all the time in movies as well.
Yeah. He's awesome. I was lucky enough to meet him too. I met him at the Fan Expo in 2011 in Toronto. I got it. I actually have his book. I have his book, and he signed the book for me and was like, "Hey, Adam, thanks for buying my book." And And he has got a great book. He's got a great book. It's called like Through the Field or something. Where is it called? From the Fields to the Garden: The Life of Sid Duran. It was a great book because he grew up, I think, in the fields in Mexico, and now he's a famous commentator.
Yeah. These are the guys that are icons for
I love these guys. Yeah, you know what? I love this podcast today. This is one of my favorite podcasts we did because we're really getting into like the deeper part of this stuff, man. It's not just all the matchups and everything, but man, these guys are they were legends, man. Like Bert Watson was the guy that was a legend for the fighters and stuff. You know, it's funny, Marcel. We said we'll do half an hour. Might as well finish the hour up at this point. We got 10 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's funny because we started and me and Marcel were not feeling great. I'm still not, but I feel fired up now, guys, talking to you. So yeah, it is what it is.
I kind of feel better now. So yeah.
Me too. After talking to you and all the comments and stuff. All you guys in the chat are awesome, by the way. So I appreciate it. Let's talk about a few other things here just before we get out of here, Marcel. We got 10 minutes left, like I said. Guys, throw in any questions you want. 10 minutes, literally anything you want to talk about. Tony Ferguson, you see that? He's training with GSP. What do you think of that? And Freddie Roach. Probably a little bit too late, though. You know, he's 37, I think, now. Isn't he, Tony Ferguson? He's up there, right?
It's actually shocking how Tony Ferguson looked.
37 years old.
In his weigh-in before the Gaethje fight and in his last weigh-in for Oliveira. I mean, he looks like 4 years older, man.
I know. That was a beating, bro. That was like – that one surprised me, man. I didn't pick Gaethje to win that fight. And I love Gaethje, but I love Tony too. And that one really surprised me, man. I got to be honest.
Definitely the way how it went.
Yeah, and then but how about the Oliveira fight? He got 30-24. Like he got 10-8 rounds in all 3 rounds, remember? So I got to be honest with you, man. Like this fight with Dariush, he could win because Dariush is a very wild fighter. He leaves his chin exposed a lot, and Tony could catch him. But man, with Dariush, the way he's performing, Marcel, I don't know how you can pick against him. He's so good, right? And he's really been performing well. Glenn says, buying fighter walkout shirts from Remember Events also sadly missed. Dude, great point, man. I remember going to the fights and they'd have the you know, like the store, they'd have little stores, little shirts and stuff for the fighters. And you know what, man? I have a lot of shirts upstairs. I used to buy all the shirts. Bad Boy was I was friends with those guys. I bought all their shirts. I love supporting those guys. Bad Boy Marcel, Death Throne, Venom, all these brands. Like I have all these guys' shirts. Weidman, McGregor. Which one?
Silver Star.
Yeah. Like there was a few guys there, like back in the day, like 2010-ish. Affliction. Remember Affliction? Remember that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I had an Affliction shirt. I had an Affliction shirt. I had one Affliction shirt. I only had one. I also had a Tap Out shirt too. Tap Out. What about Tap Out?
Yeah, amazing.
Bro, it's crazy how the years go by. Like, doesn't seem that long ago, but man, it's been a while, eh?
I have them as well. I even bought a Shooter Box Vanderlei shirt with his logo on the back because I love that shirt, you know.
Yeah.
And those were fun stuff, man. Tap Out, Silver Star, what is it? Bad Boy, you know, all those fighters.
Bad Boy, bro. Like Anderson Silva Schwartz, Chris Weidman. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing when they did the deal. I said that obviously the money, because the fighters lost money. Dana White could say that they made money. They didn't. They lost money. But the biggest thing that I missed was the personality, because the fighters were able to have a person like Chuck Liddell. Imagine Chuck without the Iceman shorts. You know what I mean? You can't. Chuck Liddell in Reebok shorts. Like I can't imagine it, right? So
I mean, it's the same, yeah. Do you remember the Overeem shorts, that the white with the orange? And I have that one. Yeah,
that's awesome. The Demolition Man. Remember he used to come with the hammer? I used to love that, man. Yeah. That's something the UFC they kind of lack in that too. The entrances. I think they can make the entrances more like elaborate. Like the Bellator does a good job with that. I'll give them that. They do a good job.
I agree. Sure.
Brad says, "Would you have bet had the Till matchup happened?" I got to be honest, man. I really did like Vettori in that fight. I got to be honest with you. What was I can't remember the odds. I think it was close to a pick 'em, wasn't it? Let me double check what it was.
Probably, yeah. I think it was.
Or it might have been a bigger favorite. Let me double check. It was. Vettori right now was, what was he at? Minus 175. I think the odds are taken down now, right? Actually, sorry, they still are up, but yeah, minus 175. I did like him in that fight. Till was a pretty good fighter, but I just think that's a bad matchup for him. I think Vettori is very underrated, Marcel. You know, I think he's a guy that quite frankly, I underrated him. Remember Jack Hermanson? I was like, I don't know if he's going to win that fight, and he won. Yeah, it's. I just saw 175, but it's again that fight's done now. Kevin Holland's going to fight him.
I just hope Alfredo Zolino doesn't watch this podcast because I always tell him that Marvin Vettori sucks just to piss him off.
Yeah, actually, Al's thing was the next thing I was going to bring up. Al's fight, because he okay. So Al told me yesterday, he's like, "Yo, I got a fight to break." I was like, "Sweet, man, let's do it." We broke the news at BJ Penn, Marcel. Let's pull it up here. Broke the news yesterday, man. Frey broke the news, and Al's a great guy. I love Al. He broke the news, guys. So we had some breaking news. You can't tell us we don't break news here. Alessio Chirico versus Roman Dolidze. I love this fight, man. This is a great fight. I feel like it's almost the UFC saying they thought he won the fight, right? Like a little bit, right? What do you think?
Pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much saying that, because the Chirico comes from that big win against Buckley.
Oh, man, that was nasty. I got to be honest, I didn't expect to win that fight, especially after Buckley had knocked out Kasangane and Jordan Wright or whatever. He was a guy the UFC was really pushing, and then, he ran into this Italian beast here. But man, I like the Dolidze, man. I think that now that he's had that one fight at middleweight, Marcel had the weight cut already, knows what it's like to go to the third round. I think this is a good fight for him, but I don't know. I mean, the Chirico's really underrated, man. What do you think?
I agree, man. The Chirico arguably won against Kevin Holland in their fight, remember? So, I mean, this is a fun fight. By the way, you got to check I source Al. You checked the last line I read.
Al, the Italian gangster Zolino from BJPenn.com. Thank you. Look, Roman got robbed. A lot of people were saying that. It was a close fight. You know what? I picked Giles in that fight, so for my picks, I was hoping he'd win, but I got to be honest, I kind of thought Dolidze was going to win the fight, but it was super close. It came down to the third round. It's not a robbery. You can't say that's a robbery. If you're saying that's a robbery, then that's a mistake. We got a couple minutes, guys. Throw the last couple questions in here. I'm just going to pull up Twitter and stuff to see what else we missed for today. Again, I really wasn't around today because I wasn't feeling great, but
gotta give Adam credits here, man. He has been in such a horrible day today, and he's on this podcast here. So credits to you, man.
Dude, I appreciate that, man. My fiance said don't do it tonight, just take the day off. But I was like, I sent you a message on WhatsApp. I was like, yo, if I don't do it, I'm gonna be super bored, man. So let's just do it. You know what I mean? But yeah, today's been rough, guys.
I told you as well not to do it. So, but Adam is our work, like he says.
So, thank you, man. I am, and I appreciate that, Marcel. So are you, man. I appreciate that. But I do work hard, and I just love doing the podcast, man. I would have felt bad if we didn't do it because I want to do it, So I'm glad we were able to do it, even at 7:00 or 1 a.m. for you, Marcel. I appreciate you doing it. Just trying to see if there's any other news here. Let's see here. Marlon Vera now. I see Cole just posted the story. He wants the rematch. I don't think they do it, man. What do you think? Nah, they're going to protect. You see what Dana said? He's like, we could do that fight anytime. That's what he says. He's like, that Vera fight's available at any time. They don't want to do it. Mr. Always. What's going on, man? Thanks so much, both y'all, for doing it. We appreciate more than we say. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you and everyone else in the chat. I see you, man. I appreciate it. Smoke up, bro, and enjoy that joint in your mouth, man. Love it. One last thing here. James Lynch, my good friend, he did an interview with Miesha Tate today, and she had mentioned, by the way, that she was considering going up to 145. And I was like, why didn't she just do it? Because she would have got a title shot right away, right? But she's going down to 135. She's going to fight Renault. But Miesha was saying how, she had been kind of tired of basically living in Singapore. It was very hard for her. She has 2 young children now. Her husband, who's a fighter, I think his name's Johnny Nunez, I think, right? NFL guy. Yeah. They're from Vegas. He's from Vegas. So they were like, you know what? We have to go back home. So she just gave her 30 days to 1. She's fully into her MMA career. She said she has 2 years left. That's what she said in the podcast. So I did listen to that today, and I want to give you guys that heads up. Also, Jim West, who's James's co-host on the show, who's also a coach of a few fighters, like I mentioned earlier. Aspen Laddie said he's going to fight on July 10th. She's fighting on July 10th, Marcel. So there you go. There's a tidbit for you. I don't know who it's going to be against. Like, I'm looking at the rankings. Yana made sense, but she just beat her, so it won't be Yana. I'm thinking maybe Aldana could be, or Jermaine Duran be a rematch, possibly. But
Duran had just surgery.
She did. So there you go. Maybe Aldana, because Aldana's ranked very high. I think Pena's going to get that title shot, even though she probably doesn't deserve it, but it's just a weak division. Brad, thanks, guys. Hey, appreciate you, man. Anyone's in the chat, man, we all love you guys. Seriously. You guys take time out of your day to come join us, talk about MMA. We love you guys. We're trying to grow it, guys. Seriously. So tell people about it. We have a great chat room going on. We have a great community. I was thinking about today. I'm like, we don't have a big community, Marcel, yet, but we have a great community, a little community that's growing. And I seriously love everyone here. So I appreciate you guys. That's it for today, though, guys. We're going to be done. So, Marcel, quickly plug your stuff. Let's get out of here.
Big Marcel24, Twitter, Instagram, and MMA DNA.nl. And like I said, man, I do segment of the Dutch podcast, but since you're all English speaking, probably, or Brazil, or Portuguese speaking, or Spanish speaking, you don't know, so it doesn't make sense for me to plug that.
Yeah, just some comments here with Marcus and Glenn. Yeah, you guys follow us on Twitter at MMAOB podcast, MMAOddsbreaker.com, BJPen.com, MMA News, MyMMAnews.com, and Elite